Welcome back to a mental health break with Vincent A. Lanci. I'm excited for another episode with you all. I'm Vincent Lanci, speaker and author of the book Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption. When I was 21 years old, I was the victim of a hit-and-run accident while walking home from a friend's birthday. After coming out of a coma and suffering from a traumatic brain injury, or you may know of as a TBI, I soon realized that it was time to put my mental health on a very, very high pedestal. This podcast is all things mental health. Would it benefit you to hear from mental health professionals and influencers? Would it add value to your life to also hear real-life, authentic stories from people talking about their mental health, the issues they face, and how they actively combat them? Look no further if this is the right place for you. I want to start by congratulating you all for taking your mental health and making it a priority. On this episode, I'm happy to introduce my guest, Dr. Lulu. I actually met her through a DM on Instagram for my entrepreneur podcast at your favorite morning podcast, What's It Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur. We started talking and I thought she would be a great fit for the entrepreneur podcast, but a great fit for this mental health podcast. In addition to being a doctor, she's a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, and a blogger. Allow me to introduce Dr. Lulu. How are you today?
Hey, buenos dias from South Texas. What's going on?
It's great to have you on. Thanks for joining the show.
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Lulu,
it's my pleasure.
Something I do at the beginning of each episode is I share a mental health story of someone who is famous because I want to let all of the listeners know that you are not alone. I want you to understand that even though someone looks like they are healthy from the outside, they may not be on the inside too. So today, I'll introduce the story of Adele, and here's some highlights I jotted down while I read the story. For a long time, she struggled with very bad postpartum depression, which is where you're worried that you might hurt your child or you're not doing a good job as a parent. At first, she did not listen to any doctor's advice. She did not confide in other women or even take any antidepressants. Eventually, she did start talking to other women with children, as well as pregnant women. Professionals described her illness as perinatal depression and anxiety disorders, or as a perinatal mood disorder, which means during pregnancy. And I also read that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimate that there are 800,000 women suffering from this each year, which is about 1 in 7 mothers. Dr. Lulu, what did you take away from that story or other facts about Adele's story?
Are you sure it's Adele? It should be my name.
Yeah, let's hear why.
Yeah, if you've had 3 children, you have looked postpartum in the eye. And with my third son, that was my walk. I had postpartum depression with him. So I know that story very, very, very well. I thought it was going to be a girl. I wanted a little girl, and then I had a little boy again, and that tipped me over. I mean, I love my baby. He's 5'10" and a half right now, just a beautiful soul. But for a few weeks after he was born, I wanted a girl, and so I rejected him mentally in my head.
Okay.
But I still breastfed him, and I still loved him. And thanks to my mother, she talked me back into reality. She was like, listen, we have a lot of people out there who want a baby, don't have a baby. You know, she just gave me that reality check. But I still went through the motions. I mean, it was still painful. It was, I don't know, it is what it is.
I appreciate the insight from your personal experience. I had no idea that would coexist. So thank you for that. It's time for the main event, Dr. Lulu. I didn't want to give you too much of an introduction because I know the value you're going to provide on the series of 6 questions. My goal is to feature many valuable guests on this podcast, including people talking about their mental health, as well as doctors and influencers. I will ask the doctors who join the show a series of 6 questions, while my patients and non-licensed influencers a slightly different series of 6 questions. But today, I have a doctor in front of me, and by doing that model, it would allow me to deliver as much value to the listeners as possible. Let's get into it. Many would agree that the more common or talked about types of mental illnesses are mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and schizophrenia disorders. What areas do you come across the most?
I think probably now with social media, honestly, I'm just going to go with anxiety, and maybe anxiety first and then depression second. So yes, anxiety first and then mood disorders. We're all just anxious about how many likes on our post, how many shares the video got, and just frou-frou stuff. So there's a lot more anxiety about global warming, about the politics. It's just a lot of anxiety more now, and probably less resiliency. So we're not able to deal with them as well as maybe our forefathers did, maybe.
Okay. Very, very true. As far as anxiety disorders, what are a lot of you come across a lot of cases you're saying with anxiety more so than the others. What are some common ways that you help people with the anxiety?
Well, the main thing about it is you're only as brave as your worst fears. And majority of these anxiety situations, honestly, are rooted in fear. I mean, let's face it, fear is false evidence appearing real. It's really not real. If I'm anxious because I have a speaking engagement, okay, for instance, truth be told, I have an event that I'm hosting next weekend, and I was so anxious about that. Maybe nobody will come. Maybe they're not gonna like what they're gonna learn. None of that is real. I haven't even had the event yet, but I'm almost talking myself out of it. Like I almost canceled the event because I was just thinking all these thoughts that are not even based on reality. So a lot of times, yes, of course, there's anxiety which you can inherit. If your mother was an anxious person, you're going to be an anxious person because that's all you know. But the truth about anxiety, in all fairness, if you peel all the layers, most times there's nothing in the core. It's just false. And then we've talked ourselves into believing that I'm not good enough, or I'm not, no one's going to like me, or I don't have anything to offer. Before this podcast, I was like, oh my God, what if he doesn't like me? What if his listeners don't like me? Are you kidding me? I only have 30 years of being a doctor, but I still said to myself, what if he doesn't like me? What if I'm not good enough? True story, Whitney Houston, the voice, Whitney, the powerhouse. Before she went on stage, every time she had butterflies in her stomach. She was nervous, she was anxious. Whitney Houston? But when she opened her mouth, you're like, oh my God, just sing to me. But she almost talks herself out of every single performance. So anxiety is really truly based on not much. The question is, are you able to allow yourself to stop and peel the layers and really face that? What is really the root of this anxiety, this fear? And so for my patients, I make them stop and ask themselves that question. Like I had a patient, a 14-year-old boy once, who was always like nervous that when he goes to play to the band room, he wouldn't be good enough with his saxophone or whatever instrument he was playing. And he always felt that there was someone going to say, you're not good enough. And he won every award for the saxophone, but he always still said to himself, he's not good enough. So we have to
Amazing.
start asking ourselves, is it really rooted on reality? If it's not, then why worry? And if it's rooted on reality and you can fix it, then why worry? So you see why you should never really worry.
That's an incredible perspective. Thank you so much, Dr. Lulu. When did you first decide that a career relating to mental health was the right career for you?
Well, in all fairness, I think I was born to be a pediatrician. When I was in medical school, all my friends were like, you must be a pediatrician," because I would stop and love on the kids on the street and just love on the babies, and that's just has always been me. So I knew I was going to do pediatrics. However, in the year 2000, when my middle son, I call my middleman child, when I was pregnant with him, my first close friend put a gun to her head and pulled the trigger. And I didn't know about it until I was about 7 months pregnant with him. And then I called to see how she was doing. And I was told that she had blown her brains out, is what her niece had said to me. And that put me in labor. So my son was born at 7 months because I couldn't believe the news that I heard. But I came out of that. And then a couple of years after that, my patient killed himself. He had had depression, and he had come to see me, and his mom had said, no, no, I don't think he's depressed. What do you mean? Well, okay, even if he's depressed, I had depression. I did okay. He's going to be fine. But he wasn't fine. He was not fine. He was the quarterback and in his football, and he just didn't like he didn't like himself anymore. He didn't want to be a quarterback anymore. And that 4th of July of 2008, in front of his entire family, he put a double barrel shotgun in his mouth and pulled the trigger. And I haven't been the same person since then, because I kept asking myself, what could I have done more? What didn't I do? What did I miss? And then after a while, I realized, you know what? You can be the very best doctor in the world. You can't save everybody. And then I realized also that if I feel this bad, can you imagine how bad his mother felt? And so I had to make his memory be something, I needed to do something from his memory. And then I started looking at my patients closer, and then I became almost paranoid with everybody, and I was like, oh my God, wait, maybe I missed something, and at one point I realized, wait, you maybe even if you're not missing something, I went back to that fear of the unknown, like what if I had to stop that. So you know what, I'm just going to go forth and just put my best foot forward and assume that everyone that I touch, I'm going to change their lives in one way or the other. And then last year I had this is 2020, so 2 years ago in 2018, I had a boy, a 7-year-old boy, who attempted to hang himself. And I was like, wait, what? I was done. I quit regular medicine, and I decided to start speaking about suicide and just teaching people what to learn and what to know and what to say and what not to say, and why will anybody want to kill themselves? It's like the next level up of preventative medicine. Like that's the ultimate way to practice medicine. If I can save a child from killing themselves, then it doesn't matter if I'm writing penicillin for him. But if he's going to walk out of my office and say, you know what, I want to live, then I feel like my work has been done. And so that's kind of how it's not a straightforward thing, but it's kind of how the whole thing happened.
You have a wonderful soul, and I'm so grateful to have you on this episode, providing this great intellect to all of our listeners. And what advice can you give our listeners in as what may be considered a potential early sign that they may be developing some sort of mental illness?
Honestly, I think the best way to answer that question is to realize that mental illness is a bona fide part of physical illness, or should I say physical health, or rather your mental health is almost the same thing as your physical health. And the reason I say that is because if you've ever had a knee injury and you're a basketball player, you will know that before long, because you can't play basketball, you're going to become depressed. Whereas the problem was your knee injury that took you out of the game, or ankle injury or whatever. If you don't take care of the mental part of who you are, before long, it doesn't matter about the knee injury anymore. You're now going to become depressed. And now we're going to need you to start getting counseling, whereby, wait, it was supposed to be just your knee and just getting physical therapy. So the sooner people stop separating the two, the better for us. And so for me, my advice would be put your best foot forward every day and take care of your mental health as well as you take care of your physical health. Otherwise, before long, your mental health is going to get your attention. And you don't want that. And, people, when they hear mental illness, they think, oh, it's someone that's crazy who is, on the street and,
Exactly what I was going to incorporate next. That's so true.
But it's not that. It's just me, judging myself and doubting myself. That is the beginning of, lack of mental wellness. And so the question I had on my group yesterday was, is the absence of disease necessarily the presence of health? The answer is no. Because if you don't treat if you don't eat right, for instance, something as simple as that, if you don't start exercising and respecting your body is going to tell you about it sooner or later. You might not be sick right now, but you're planting the seeds of a major illness down the line. So am I making any sense?
Absolutely. It's a wonderful advice. Something for me, I learned, especially after my accident, was there is no shame in a therapy. I actually find it obviously therapeutic, but very relieving, where I can just talk to somebody where there's no strings attached. You don't care about, you care about my well-being, but as far as my personal life, you're just doing your job. You're helping me grow. And this platform, as I begin with this mental health podcast series, and I've spoken to a few doctors on the series, creating great insight for our listeners. It's therapeutic for me just speaking with you right now and the other doctors, because we're just talking, and talking about how to maintain a positive mental health. And the little advice can work for some people. It doesn't work for everybody, but it may be what puts someone over the correct edge to turning their life around. So thank you for that.
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Lulu, if you could pick 3 and only 3, what would the 3 most important things our listeners can do on a daily basis or short-term basis to improve their overall mental health?
I tell you what, never fails journaling. I know it sounds like frou-frou. You have to journal. And when I say journaling, I say gratitude journal. I tell my patients to just do 5 things that you're grateful about every day. But do you know that now I fill out 4 pages and I keep going? Because when you start thinking gratitude, then you start thinking positive. See, gratitude cannot go with negative. You cannot be thankful for something and be thinking negatively about it. So if you're writing a gratitude journal, that may be the first 3 things: gratitude journal, and gratitude journal. Because if you write it down, then you can see it. Then it becomes organic. It's like you can look at it and you give life to it. If you say it is good, but if you write it, you can go back and look at it and smile, and you can even share it with somebody. And you don't have to
Absolutely.
write a gratitude journal at night. You can write it in the morning. You can just wake up and say, oh my God, thank God my back doesn't hurt today. Thank God I have 6 things to do today. Thank God, I'm happy that I have to do this podcast today and I have to talk about something that maybe help someone today. I'm happy that I don't have a fever that I had yesterday, whatever. But once you start looking for things to be happy, to be thankful about, you will start seeing more things that you be thankful about. And then what happens is you don't see yourself as not enough anymore. Because wait, you're thankful for those things that happened. Because you woke up this morning and many people went to bed and they didn't wake up this morning. And it's not up to
Absolutely.
you. It's not up to you to wake up this morning. So for that alone is a thing to be grateful. So my first 3 things will be gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. But then write it down. Writing it down gives the level
Yeah,
to
so
that gratitude.
journaling is going to be our first. What's next? What else can our listeners do on a short-term basis?
Eating right. I
Eating
mean,
right.
eating right. Eating right is almost like a no-brainer, but honestly, you have to eat right. You have to eat to live. And that means if you're not hungry, you may not need to eat. And that means if you want to eat a chocolate chip cookie because you haven't had one all month, eat it. Don't put any kind of guilt towards food, because it's supposed to be something that's nourishing, and nourishment should be good. So you see, going back to that good positive energy kind of thing. So yes, eat right. And also don't drink your calories. Drink water. It's free, it's clean, it's rejuvenating. So eat right and then drink right. That'll be my number 2.
I do my best to stay conscious of eating correct things in the morning. I eat very well when I go to the gym and I do everything properly, but I don't hold back if I want a piece of pizza or something
That's
because
right.
I'm working out. I'm creating a positive mental state because of my physical health. When I'm working out and I'm drinking water and I'm eating all right, I'm thinking clearly, my days are going longer. I'm taking my vitamins and I'm focused. But as far as the journaling, I'm a big fan of writing everything down. Obviously, with a traumatic brain injury, my short-term memory has been drastically affected. Love the journals.
I
Stay on track,
journal.
and I've created a web type I use in the mornings now, rather than creating a list, which can eventually become a laundry list. I have my calendar for my day, my desk calendar, my Excel, but I create a web and I map it out of what's important, and I feel that efficiency allows me to leverage the whole day.
Plus, it
That's
also is visual. You also get to see it, because being
exactly.
a lot of times being able to see it is good. It's better than trying to remember it. I just love to write stuff down. I
It's a
just
lot
love, my
going on in
table
the
is
lives of
full.
everybody to remember little things. And when you forget that important detail that was so meaningful at the time, but you got wrapped up in the lust, the craziness of the day. I couldn't agree with you more, Dr. Lulu. Thank you for that. So we just
Yes,
spoke
sir.
about some short-term initiatives that our listeners can help create a more positive mental headspace. What are 2 longer-term commitments our listeners can make to create a healthier mindset?
I think probably on a long term is eliminate negative energy. That has to be a work in progress. I believe that everybody there's a what they say season. Everybody has a season, and sometimes it's okay to say this season for this particular friend or this particular person is over, is past. So surround yourself with people that are positive. And just because somebody was positive for me yesterday, if I'm going to allow myself to grow and grow up and grow out, I may not be able to have all the people who were with me at the first level. They may not be right for me at the next level, So
Couldn't be more
I think,
correct.
so I think eliminating negativity in the form of human beings and negative energy will be something that you have to keep on going back to edit and doing that. So that's for the long term, that will be one.
Okay, give me one more.
Probably exercise. Yes, exercise will be my second thing. And that is just like this forever. So once you start today, you walk a mile today. You don't have to even walk 2 miles tomorrow. And if people want to, they want to push themselves. No, if you can do a mile, if that's all you can do every day, that's still better than the person who did not do a mile.
Baby
But if you
steps,
want to
yeah.
go to 2 miles, then go ahead and do 2 miles. But at least you're doing something.
I agree. Baby steps. Everybody's very impatient sometimes and anxious
I
for that end
know.
result. And it's unfortunate that the society, everybody wants the end prize, but as far as the work involved to get there, I'm realizing firsthand, I'd say once my book was published, I truly started enabling myself for that. You'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. I am working regular minimum 12-hour days between these podcasts and my speaking and the marketing and the emails. You know how it is to be an entrepreneur. It's just, I truly love what I do, and I'm building my brand right now, hopefully, so that way I have a vision. My company's Left for Dead Incorporated. My vision for the company is to have multiple branches under the umbrella: the speaking, the coaching. My plan to start coaching hospital patients, the books. I'm working on a children's book. There's so many things that I truly love the path I've created, and I know how much work it's going to take for me to be content with the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. So definitely those two long-term initiatives are things I've been working on. I have a lot of great friends over the years, but I'm 28 now, and nothing wrong with having a drink once in a while, having fun with your friends. But I'm very focused on my work right now, and I still have some friends who are where I was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where I wish I was further, but I wasn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean we're not friendly. It just means I can't dedicate the time and the resources to you that I once was.
Exactly. Oh my God, I couldn't have put it better.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
For me, I know when I go out, I have to have a couple days where I need to recover because I have
Yeah,
an early schedule and a lengthy schedule every day where I need to be on my game. And I'm willing to sacrifice that because down the road, I'll have,
exactly.
you could take a vacation or something every couple months, I take a mental health day when I need it.
Mm-hmm.
I go up to New York to see my family. I'm in Tampa. Little things come up, but to stay on track is a very hard thing. We all know, and to hang
Yes.
around with people that are going to bring the negative energy, you couldn't be more right, will take away from your goals and defeat you. Let's wrap up the big six with number 6 here. And I love this one from each guest. What are some ways that you plan on raising awareness for the importance of mental health in the future? What are some initiatives you're going to look to take on? You mentioned a conference you're coming up. Let's get into some things.
Yeah, well, generally, I'm going by I do speaking engagements. That's the first one. I started going to schools. I go to kindergarten. I go to elementary. I go to middle school. I go to high school. I talk to teachers. I talk to parents. So talking, speaking, I believe that we're connected by our storyline. So I'm all about speaking. Of course, I also write books. I have 2 books under my belt, 2 bestsellers, which I'm really proud of. One is a parenting resource. The other one is for youth suicide. So I've got my books and I'm thankful for that. I'm actually just this week kicking off my online courses and trying to get in that realm. Oh my goodness. And I hope I
I've
don't
got
bite more
goals
than
like
I could
that too,
chew.
but I can't, exactly. That's what I mean. I have a few
Yes.
different ideas for a few courses, but I'm already not ahead of myself. I'm just focused, and I can't put another
Yes.
piece of meat on my
Extra
plate.
egg on the plate. Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
So yeah, but online courses is another thing that I do. I find that I just went to Nigeria and I found that,
Nice.
of course it helps to speak to a huge crowd. I spoke to a room full of 400 doctors one time, but I found that I do better. I'm in my element when I'm speaking to 30 people or 25 people. Is more intimate and they can actually get more from me that way. So I think I'm going to do more small intimate setting kind of engagements more this time around as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to following all those endeavors. And in a little bit, we'll share the ways for our listeners to follow you and stay in touch and follow you, all that as well. But Dr. Lulu, it's time for the last word. I do this on my other podcast too, what it's really like to be an entrepreneur, because I want our listeners to really get to know my guest and connect with them. Is there something you'd like to share with everyone listening in that we not get to touch on today?
I think that, yes, I was going to say for the parents again, and when I say parents, please know that an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a teacher, you are all parents. You're all parents. Even if you don't birth the child, you're all parents. Remember that 4 out of 5 teens who kill themselves leave signs. I can't say that enough. 4 out of 5 is 80%. So that's a lot of people.
Staggering number.
Yes, if you don't know the signs, please holler at your girl. But let me tell you something. A lot of times the world looks at you when you're suicidal as looking for attention and all that. Then when you die by suicide, oh, we did not know. So those two people cannot be, it's like it doesn't make any sense. When the child is crying for help, 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 you're like, well, why are you looking for attention? What do you mean you're going to kill yourself? I don't believe you're really going to kill yourself. And then when they do it, then it was like, oh my God, we had no idea. We didn't know. We just thought he was just being a teenager. And so please be aware that 4 out of 5 people who kill themselves do leave a sign. And so what we'll do is for part 2 of this
go ahead,
podcast,
please.
when I come back,
hey, all right.
we'll delve deeper into what are those signs and what do you do, what should you not do, and stuff like that. So
thank you so much for that. Please go ahead and share your social media, share your website, or ways for our listeners to get in touch with you or follow your amazing journey and the things that you have to come.
Thank you so much. So first of all, my blog, which I'm really proud of, is called Words by Black Butterfly. And I think I'm the only Words by Black Butterfly out there. So Words by Black Butterfly is my personal blog. My speaking website is teenalive.com. So TEEN alive, ALIVE.com. My practice is youthhealthcenter.com. So youth will be YOUTH, healthcenter.com. Otherwise, I'm on Facebook as my first name is Uchenna, my last name is Umeh. There are like 2,000 of us. But my business page is Ask Dr. Lulu. You have to spell it out. Ask the word doctor, then Lulu is LULU. And on Instagram, I'm also Ask Dr. Lulu. And then Twitter is just my first name, Uchenna Umeh 9, the number 9. And then Instagram, LinkedIn is Dr. Lulu. So, but I think honestly, if you Google the word Momatrician, which is my little alter ego, MOMATRICIAN, Momatrician, you see everything about me. I did not know this, but my son was like, Mom, did you know that your name Momatrician is like you're trending? I'm like, what? So Momatrician will take you to everything about me, every single thing.
Great. Everybody listening, be sure to check her out. You can also check out the show on Instagram at A Mental Health Break, as well as Facebook at A Mental Health Break. We're on Twitter at Podcast by Lanci, and I'm Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube. My website is vincentalanci.com. If you liked today's episode, please continue listening and rate A Mental Health Break with Vincent A. Lanci 5 stars. I work very hard to find value-delivering guests for you on each episode. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode of A Mental Health Break with Vincent A. Lanci.